too. And he just, when you charted, and we did, the number of times he got his hand on balls or came up with steals was elite.
Looks like his responsibility is sort of guard the corner three, guard the baseline drives, and that allows him to sort of see the floor defensively. Is that what we can expect from him in a defensive role?
It is so much deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It is true because of our structure, he ends up guarding from those floor spots that you just said. But sort of to whittle it down into only that or primarily that would be a mistake. And he's got the ability to do that in half court. We saw him stalk down transition shooters and bat balls out of bounds, with just that extra effort and that length. I think that he can play defense, period, not just from the floor spots that you just said.
But you obviously didn't get an extended look at it, but how did you feel about how the five starters played together today?
Okay. Okay. There is, familiarity things for sure. There's also sort of like positional things for sure. Tobias had a three as an example. I think after 4 practices in general, I was pleased with the organization. Like, we looked like you could play a game and have some level of purpose and intent. To your question about, well, in that environment, how did those 5 starters look? I thought they looked okay. There were some good things that I did see. There's some familiarity things that stood out to me too, both from just new teammates and also new positions.
It really seemed like Josh and Ben really did a great job finding each other. It seemed like they had a lot of chemistry so far. What did you see out of the pairing? That's going to be the backcourt this year. So
there were times I also felt that would have been part of for sort of the positive, the most positive things that came out of Kyle's just question about, the starters playing with each other. That would have been a piece of it. I think that those two can be elite defensively, really like stalking backcourts. And Josh is so elusive and just sort of slippery as a complete complement. He's just really hard to screen, and he's always active. He can get thin and slide through narrow places and get back in front of balls. I think that those two defensively stood out as a pairing as much as, to my opinion, more than actually the offense.
Obviously, like Matisse represented it from an individual standpoint, but I think you said at the luncheon the other week that you might be a little bit more lenient or tolerant of gambles defensively and deflections. I mean, collectively across the board, did you see a reflection of that mindset from both scrimmage teams?
I did. I thought that we turned people over. I thought that we rotated quite well. I think when you go back and you say, well, this was great, some great activity defensively, and maybe there's some gambles that you're going to turn your head to initially. The backside of that is, you're unhappy with your turnovers, and so you can't have it all. You're happy with your steals and deflections, and then you're upset on the other side because they got it stolen or deflected. But I think the length that this team has, both with the starters and some of the people that will be coming off the bench, I believe it will play into that disruptive style that we want to play with.
What did you see from your backup point guards? It looks like Neto, had a little bit better.
I mean, it's to sort of say who won the tournament today. I don't feel like it stood out that much to say that. What I do think is the competition is obvious. Like that's those two at the moment, have the opportunity to one of them put their hand up. I'm also not reluctant to look at just our best players. How can you play your best players? Because maybe, as I've said, maybe Shea can come in there and do that. I don't really want to play Josh as a backup point guard or a point guard. Initially, I want to try to give Trey and Raul especially a chance, and a chance they will have. And at the end of the day, it'll play out with whomever it plays out with. And you know, it's I see that position especially in that way.
Now you mentioned Shake's name. Is it like one of those things where, again, you're looking at these two, but he keeps doing something to where you say, you know, I got to keep him in the mix as well?
For sure, and I truly think this. It would be naive for any of us to think like coaches don't have preconceived ideas. This is true, but I feel like disciplined within myself to come into this thing open-minded enough where it's competitive. It's competitive, and as I've said to you all, and I've said to them, the gym by and large will tell me. You all will tell me. I got ideas, but there's enough of a body of work where the gym speaks, and that is my belief. And because of the flexibility and depth in some spots, you're able to reshuffle the deck a little bit in order to get your best players on the court. And you know, that may mean a lot of different things when October the 23rd comes up.
Two more guys.
Along those lines, I mean, as important as the preseason often is, it seems like this has a little more importance for you, just given the cohesion you want to build with your first five and those things that you just mentioned about finding a backup point guard and divvying up the wing minutes. Do you look at it that way?
I completely do. You know, I've gone on record and said I want to come out of the gate swinging. I want to come out of the gate playing as high level of basketball as we can possibly play. And that comment doesn't normally coexist with, and by the way, the very large majority of your team is brand new. Like there's a disconnect there. But like that's my goal, and that's how I speak to my team. And you know, I think that initially trying to grow the starters is as important to me, and giving them as much time, Joel and Al, together as I can. But my intent is to try to expedite things in a more, I don't know, quicker way than usual to start the season well.
Can you talk about how the building worked out, the concept of playing the game here?
I thought it was sensational. You know, I like very much going to the Palestra for the obvious historical reasons, and it's the city of Philadelphia, and this game we do not take for granted, and we think thoughtfully, and with a group of us, where should we play this and why? And so it's an important game. It's an important sort of, you know, intro to our season. And we opted to come down here to Wilmington, Delaware, and play the game. And to see the venue, to give back to the crowd, to further enhance our relationship with this city and our G League program. I thought it was a great move to do that, and now that the game has ended, I think it even more. And I thought that it was well presented. I thought the game flowed smoothly, and I hope that the crowd enjoyed it.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, everyone.